So I was told that the theme of the event is element of tenet. And I was thinking what that means in the context of my work. And to me, the interpretation that was offered to me by the students is that it's about the truth, what is deemed to be the truth, what is widely considered the truth, and those who are skeptics who question the truth because, as a filmmaker who is now a household name in India, an Israeli filmmaker called Nadav Lapid said recently, the truth is subjective. And we got an example of that when, I'm sure many of you are aware that Nadav Lapid was the jury chairperson at the International Film Festival of India this year. And he had gone on stage at the closing ceremony and said that the film Kashmir Files is a vulgar propaganda movie that has no place in a prestigious competition of a prestigious festival like IFFI. Now, obviously, there was right-wing uproar about this, and obviously, the maker of the film was outraged, and so were his supporters, and the right-wing dominates our country right now. But then subsequently, he gave some interviews, and mysteriously, this Nadav Lapid, who is known to be anti-establishment across the world, and whose work is anti-establishment, who has taken courageous stands against the establishment in his own country. Suddenly, according to headlines in India, it said that he was apologizing and that he, in fact, thinks that Kashmir Files is a brilliant film. And this seemed mysterious. Why would Nadav Lapid make such a fool of himself? Why would he take a strong stand on a public stage only to take an absolute U-turn within days? Here's the thing. He never said that Kashmir Files is a brilliant film, okay? What he said was, I understand, and I'm not quoting his exact words, but what he said was that he understands that there are people who think that it is a brilliant movie. And not just one, not just two, but several media persons in our country deemed it fit to misquote this man who was saying he knows there are other people who think that this is a brilliant movie, and they removed words from here and there out of his sentence and said this is a brilliant movie. They claimed that he said this is a brilliant movie. Now, mind you, there was a time when people would misquote if they met someone in a one-on-one interview, because if they recorded the interview, an audio recording, then that audio recording is available with the journalist, right? But here is an instance where the filmmaker was speaking on a public platform that was telecast to the world, and if you and I wanted to go and check that video, we could have checked that video, and there were fact checkers who did check that video, which is why we know the truth, which is that he didn't say what certain newspapers claimed he said. He said something completely different. We therefore live in a post-truth world, and that post-truth has come to mean the most bizarre things. An interview that a person has given that is available for everyone to check gets misquoted. You and I can take a photograph, and someone can Photoshop themselves into it. We live in this, and we also live in this time when constantly artists are being told, it is not your job to be political, okay? Come, entertain us, give us some fun, and then go, okay? Except that, what's the meaning of the word political? Firstly, artists have a right. If you're going to look at politics as only being about BJP and Congress and CPM and Trinamool Congress and AIADMK and DMK, artists still have a right to take a stand on political parties. But politics is beyond that in any case. Politics is in everything we do. It is in all our actions. It is in our lives. There is the politics of gender. There is the politics of caste. There is the politics of religion, of religious divides. There is the politics within religion, as we all know. Every religion, every major world religion has become a device to be used to perpetuate patriarchy. The origins of the religion most of the time is not that. Many of the founders of these religions, you will find, have actually said extremely progressive things. But once they were established as organized religions, they are used by patriarchy to further its hegemony. All right? And so politics is not just about political parties or about government. Politics is everything. It is the reason why I'm speaking to you in English and not in Odia or Malayalam, because there's a history of colonialism and the English language spread across the world as a result. And while my speaking in English is not a celebration of colonialism, it just happens to be a fact that there are more people in this world who speak English than any other language, okay? So politics is everywhere. If politics is everywhere, why should artists not be taking a stand? Politics is a part of our life, right? So who decides that artists should not be taking a stand on issues? And the truth is that the people who say artists should not get political are also people who watch films that are deeply political. It's just that politics is convenient to them. And the all-pervasiveness of this politics is, more than anything, evident in recent times through, the remakes of Southern Indian films by Northern Indian cinema. We have this, what's happening right now in our country is that the Hindi film industry, which has so far dominated media space and been given the most coverage, unfairly I would say, has just been flopping in the past 2 years, and so suddenly the Hindi film industry is turning southwards for remakes. Also, there are several Southern Indian films that have become massive hits nationwide. Normally, that would be something that we should celebrate, because I think Hindi supremacism is a thing. It is a real thing. There should be no language dominating our country. We are a democracy, and at the time of our independence, it was decided by the constitution makers that no one language would dominate. But various factors have gone into making the Hindi film industry more high profile than any other. Now, things are suddenly changing. And the biggest hits of the past 2 years are Pushpa the Rise, which is Telugu, RRR, which is Telugu, KGF, which is Kannada, now Kandara. And in addition to that, there is a stream of Malayalam films, and Malayalam cinema doesn't have the same budgets as Telugu and Tamil, so they are not the same size, but they are also doing very well in theaters and also being noticed by a discerning audience and critics for their quality and doing well at their own scale. There is a big difference between the Malayalam films that are doing well and the Telugu, Tamil, Kannada films that are doing well pan-India. And the difference is that for some reason, people in our country seem to have decided that if a film is made on a massive scale, then it must be misogynistic. It has to be misogynistic. It has to be patriarchal. It has to be casteist. And if it isn't any of that, then people don't seem... So we are a country that is divided by language and by state borders, but if there's one thing that unites us across all these borders, it appears to be misogyny and patriarchy. Because if you watch Pushpa the Rise, or you watch KGF, or you watch Kandara, or you watch RRR, not only is it that women are marginalized in the way RRR marginalizes them, not only is it that RRR has taken a story of tribal rights activists and appropriated it and completely erased the actual story and their activism, but that in KGF, for instance, there is a man who has an enmity with another man, so he abducts that fellow's daughter. Then he tells her, "You are my entertainment." And next thing you know, she falls in love with him. In Pushpa the Rise, I don't know if you've heard this song, Sami, Sami, okay? Now the subtitler, when it came on OTT, translated Sami as darling, which it is, in Telugu, it can be darling. But you also know that Sami means God, deity, etc. We need to ask why the Sami that means darling also means God. And in the gestures of the woman, when she is singing to him, what you're seeing is not love. You're seeing subservience. You're seeing deification. There's a point at which Allu Arjun's character walks past her. She's sitting on the ground. And in the mud, his footprints form. And she touches one footprint and does a little tika on her forehead. That's not love, that's subservience, it's deification. Okay? There is the scene in which, so there is some tension between, what's her name? Srivalli, correct? The heroine of Rashmika Mandana's character, and the lead, Pushpa. So he's angry with her because she's been insulted in his house, and then there's a villain who abducts her father and says if she will have one night with him, he doesn't say if you have sex with me, he says if you have one night with me, I release the father, okay? Now, what is that? He's asking for sex without consent, right? Basically, he's saying he'll rape her. She goes to Pushpa, this wonderful hero of the film, and she tells him what's going to happen. And he says, I don't care. Then she tells him that she loves him. And suddenly he cares. Is this a man who cares about the dignity of women, the bodily autonomy of women? Or is it that he cares about the bodily autonomy of the woman who tells him she loves him and therefore he thinks the body belongs to him? What is it? And mind you, these films, this is not interpretation. These films are saying it very clearly. Pushpa gets angry and he goes to the villain's den and he bashes the villain up, bashes him up, okay? And throughout that time, he's standing like this with Srivalli nestling her head on his shoulder, okay? And at one point, while bashing up the villain, Pushpa points to her and then does like this. What does it mean? She is mine. So is he saying you can't rape this woman? Is he saying rape is wrong? No. He's saying she's my woman. She is my property. I have a right over this body. Therefore, you cannot touch her. And this is an aspect of gender politics you will see in all Indian language film industries in their mainstream commercial films. Okay. It's not just about Telugu. Telugu and Tamil make some disgraceful films, but let's just be very clear, because we're in Kerala, we must talk about this. Malayalam cinema has these beautiful middle-of-the-road films that are getting critical acclaim across the country. And then there are films like Monster, starring our dear Laletan, who I love, by the way, for various reasons when he's doing good films. But oh my God, the bad films that he does. Mammuka, one of the most brilliant actors I feel in the history of Indian cinema. But he does The Great Father, a film that is about child rape, if you look at the theme and the subject. But if you actually watch the film, it's really about Mammuka's sunglasses, Mammuka's shoes, Mammuka's walk, Mammuka's style in taking off his sunglasses, Mammuka wearing a leather jacket in the weather in Kerala. Mammuka, Mammuka, Mammuka. Okay? One of the most acclaimed films of the past 10 years is a film in which we show a man symbolically forcing a woman to change herself, change her clothes, change her look, and turn from this brave warrior into the simpering, coy lover. Okay? And my intellectual friends in Delhi are saying, oh, such a beautiful scene. He helps her discover her inner femininity. Karanam, we women are idiots, right? ഞങ്ങളുടെ inner femininity ഞങ്ങൾക്കറിയത്തില്ല. ഞങ്ങളെ ഈ inner femininity മനസ്സിലാക്കിപ്പിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി ആണുങ്ങളുടെ ആവശ്യമുണ്ട്. All right? So, we're talking about the element of tenet. And how am I connecting it to this? The point is that there are two things involved here. First is that it has been repeated so many times that this is entertainment, okay? Why are you looking at this seriously? This is only entertainment. It doesn't make any difference. How can it not make a difference if either it's reflecting the reality of our country, which means we have to be very worried, correct? Or it is not reflecting the reality, but it is a fictional representation of what the filmmaker hopes will become our reality. Then too, it is extremely worrisome. more than that, the audience are not fools. There is a difference between the way Malayalam cinema has for years shown husbands and boyfriends slapping their girlfriends and wives as though it's like, there's no big deal. And the difference between Jaya, 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 hey, showing the man being violent with his wife. Just to be clear, I'm not in love with Jaya, 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 hey, because it has represented not a real woman, but the male fantasy of feminine strength. Paksha ennalim, there is a difference between the woman in Jaya 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 He's representation and the tone of that film versus all the other films, such as Ayappanam Goshiyam, in which there's so much that's nice going on, then suddenly, Prithviraj slaps his wife's face, and it's supposed to be a very cool scene in which he's making a point that he has reformed. And why didn't you tell me all this time, my dear, he says. Why didn't you tell me that I was being a horrible human being? Because if you had, then maybe I would have improved earlier. Okay, and it's supposed to be a cool scene. So there is a difference in the attitude, okay? And as an audience, we recognize that. We recognize the difference in the attitude. It's just that if we like a film that's normalizing domestic violence or patriarchy or misogyny or caste, if we like it and then it's criticized by liberals, then as a defense, we say, come on, yeah, it's entertainment. Why are you getting so serious? Chill, yeah, relax. It's just a film, okay? But a film's messaging is always there. And firstly, like I said, if it's either a reflection of reality or it is a reflection of what the filmmaker hopes will become our reality, then it's extremely worrisome. And secondly, how can we argue that society is influenced by literature and drama and advertising and their parents and friends and schoolmates and school and everything in the world, but not cinema? Obviously, cinema also plays a role in influencing us and, in furthering certain established mindsets by showing them as normal or glorifying them. Okay, so this thing that has been established as a tenet, this is just cinema, this is entertainment, don't take it so seriously, needs to be questioned. And let me tell you, I'm a journalist, and I belong to a profession in which routinely people who choose to cover art and culture, but especially cinema, not so much the rest of the arts, but especially mainstream cinema, are routinely told, don't take it seriously, you should be lighthearted because this is what cinema journalism and entertainment journalism is supposed to be. Okay? So yeah, there'll be these elderly, grey-haired gentlemen who will be on the juries of film festivals, but you're writing for a mainstream newspaper, so don't take this so seriously. Yeah, be a little more fun, be more relaxed. The point I'm making here is that whether you are a consumer of the arts or popular cinema, whether you are a consumer of journalism as a member of the general public, whether you are a journalist or not, whether you are a maker of popular cinema or not, you have to question. Change comes only when you question. The note that was sent to me by one of your college mates said, we are skeptics, as in, all of you are skeptics. And skepticism is beautiful. So when Nadav Lapid says the truth is subjective, he doesn't mean you can lie. He means that things can sometimes be presented as the truth, when in fact they are a lie, sometimes by people who genuinely believe the lie that they are telling you, sometimes by people who are giving you propaganda to brainwash you, and sometimes facts can be twisted, things people say can be misquoted, and as we know in this day and age that we live in, photographs, even videos can be manipulated. You are young people. I am proud to know that for you, skepticism is the theme of your event. And please do what is the job of young people. Please be skeptical. Please ask questions. Make people of your generation and of all generations, make people of dominant communities uncomfortable. It is not your job to be pretty and smiling and saying yes, 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 yes all the time, because if you did that, we would all still be living in the Stone Age. And sometimes, when I look around me and I hear the things people say, it does feel that we are still living in the Stone Age. So please ask questions. Thank you for having me here.